everyone, I have another 10 cards 1 kit from Spellbinders, April 2022. This is the kit called Picket Fences. For the first card, I am starting, of course, I'm using all the card bases that come in the kit that comes with 10, and then I have a gold panel cut to that standard A2 size card, and the heart pattern paper and a floral pattern paper. Now, I highly recommend this step if you're a very visual person. I have a scrap printer paper here that I am just sketching out some tear lines on, because what I want to do is tear the other floral paper so that the green the heart pattern paper pops out from behind, and you can see how that looks here in with the white scrap paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it on the real one, and I'm going to use a white colored pencil for my lines this time, just so I can see it on that black. And I have to remember to tear like where you don't see the white line. Oh, does that make sense? And the interesting thing about sometimes tearing from either direction, you'll get more or less of that white paper showing, and I kind of liked the white paper showing, and so here I'm flipping it around because I'm like, oh, I'm not seeing the white, and figuring out which direction to tear it from so that I can have that white edge. I liked that, and then here I was tearing it a little more to get some more of that white. It's very imprecise, but it is also forgiving. You know, if you're like, oh, I don't like this little edge, you can tear it a little more. You cannot tear it a little less, so that's why I recommend using, trying it out with a scrap paper. And this is how it turns out. And then for the sentiment, we're going to take the stamp set and use this one: for all you do, for all you are, all our thanks. And I'm going to prep my paper with some anti-static powder and use some embossing ink and my gold embossing powder from my stash. It goes really well with all the gold accents, and this floral pattern paper has gold foiling also. So it all looks very nice together, and then I'm going to go ahead and powder that up and heat emboss it, and I'll just show you the powdering. I kind of like dip it back into the tray, avoiding those torn edges, but I did get some on the top torn edge, and I just used a paintbrush to dust it off because it kind of wanted to stick to the texture. And that was how it looked. Card number 2, I love this pattern paper with the street signs. Now, it is kind of a sage gray color, the background there. It's not perfectly gray. It's got kind of a green hue to it. But here I took the offcut of the panel, and I'm going to cut out a select 3 different of those street signs to highlight them by popping them up with foam tape. And I also added some black cardstock from my stash to put underneath that pattern paper. So then I stamped out the house, and I colored it with alcohol markers, and I have it up on foam mounting tape. I use up all of that tape every time I get a kit, and then I usually have to add some more of my own. Again, I stamped out these 2 hearts from the stamp set and fussy cut them out, but if you don't want a fussy cut, you could use a heart punch, but I end up using the fussy cut hearts because I really like that black edge that you get when you stamp it. So here I'm placing down my select street signs, and I just tried to pick ones that were available in the offcut and that were kind of balanced, spread out across the front of the card there. And then I'm going to glue down my 2 hearts, very similar to the way they're laid out on the stamp set. And let me see here, did I use any sequins? I can't remember with this card. Nope, that was it. And you can see here as I tilt it, the dimension and the variety that adds. It's hard to show up on video, but it looks really great in person. For the third card, again, I'm going to play with some dimension. I've taken another floral and cut a circle out of it, and we'll just save the circle for some other time. And then this green pattern paper, which I'm going to put down first. And if you wanted easier, you could just do a full panel and you'll know your circle will hit it, but I was kind of conserving paper. And this pattern does have somewhat of a direction, so be mindful of how you want that, whatever that pattern is, to look. And I wanted it kind of going vertically rather than the other orientation. So then I have some mounting tape that's a little bit thinner. It's not too thick, just a little bit of dimension, and I'm making a little window here. And then we're going to use the dies that come in the kit to cut out a variety of flowers and a little leafy thing from the cardstock, most of the cardstock that's in the kit, but that blue there I had to dig out of my own stash to find it so that it could match better with the blue. But the forest green, the cream, and the light pink are all from the kit. And for these two leaf die cuts, I don't even need extra foam tape because they just go down. I'm just gluing them down, and since my foam tape there isn't very thick, it's okay. If you had thicker foam tape, you might want to add some foam tape to the part that goes into the well, but it just, it works here. And then I'm going to just arrange some flowers. This little cream bud I'm going to lay flat. I think there is another part you can make a center for that. I didn't do that with this one. And then the two flowers here, I used mounting tape, and that yellow center is from the yellow pattern paper, just a tiny scrap of it. It's kind of a goldenrod color. Anyway, so then I have a tiny blue flower, and then for my sentiment, I use the chipboard stickers. This pink one says Memory Lane, and the green says The Best Place. And I'm going to stagger them slightly in the bottom right of the card. Memory Lane is the best place. That's the implication there. And to finish off the card, I have two of the puffy stickers, a little light blue one and a pink one. And I think I'm going to add a few sequins also. The sequins that came in this kit are like invisible. They're very hard to find if you drop them all over your desk. But the great thing about that is they blend in. They're versatile. They'll go with any pattern paper. And they're subtle, so they don't take away too much from your design, but they do add a little something, a little dimension, a little shimmer, but very little. And so for card number 4, I'm going to use the striped pattern paper and this floral, gold foiled floral, and then I've backed this long rectangular panel onto the gold cardstock that comes in the kit. And I'm butting it all the way up against the top edge of the card there. And then this card comes together super quick. I've got a few die cuts from the die cut pack. This large floral one I'm going to lay down flat. And the white flower and pink flower I have on the mounting tape. And I'm going to stagger those. And to finish off the card, I pulled off another one of those lovely puffy stickers, and it says Special Day. So this card could be a birthday card or for a variety of different special occasions. And that's it. It's all done. Love how that turned out. All right, so for card number 5, I just loved this navy scripted paper and wanted to use that. And then I'm going to use another one of the heart pattern papers. But as you can see, I have a few different circle die cuts that I've cut out of portions of the card. And then, of course, I put a ton of mounting tape on the back. This card I really struggled with. My mounting tape there that I was using is super sticky, and I'm trying to get it straight. So yeah, I tried doing it this way where I have only part of the mounting tape taken off the backer, but I did get a little rumple. And so I was like, darn. And that was my second piece of heart paper. So there's no going back there. But what I ended up doing was, originally in my sketch, my idea, this blue mug was lower down in the circle. And I adjusted where it is based on my rumple in the paper. So I just moved it up a little bit, and that kind of hides a lot more of that. And then I also adjusted the second die cut mug, the green one there, a little bit higher to balance. And I don't think I had to move my chipboard mug much at all, but then it still looks great. It doesn't really take away from the original design idea, and it hides the imperfection. And the Simple Joys is the puffy sticker sentiment. And I'm going to throw a few sequins here and there. And just remember, these are handmade cards, so we're not going for perfect, of course. But yeah, if there's something you don't love that didn't go the way you planned, see if there's a way you can adjust the design. And that's how I did it with this one, because I couldn't make another one because I do not have another one of those heart pattern papers. I could have used a different pattern paper, but this way of adjusting it I'm much more happy with, and I really love how it turned out. And there it is in all its lovely imperfect glory. So for card number 6, I used this colorful pattern paper, heart pattern paper, and boy, I'm going to show you up close here because I don't know why, but I just loved this polka dot pattern paper. I guess I love the detail in it and the variety. The circles are not all the same size. They're just slightly different, you know, and I don't know what it is, but I really loved it. And I don't even really like pink that much, but I just love this pattern paper. So I'm going to make kind of a birthday card here, and for this card, I've done this card sketch before where there's a vertical thin rectangle and then a horizontal crossing at the bottom. And to me, this reminds me of like a gift, you know, where the ribbon crosses. That is, and so I like to use it on birthday cards. I don't know, I like that look. And then in that intersection of those two rectangles, we're going to place the die cut cake and cupcake. And when I saw those die cut pieces from the pack, I knew I wanted to use those. I don't know, they're just fun. And I love making birthday cards. You know, it just puts me in a happy celebratory mood. So I really enjoyed making this card, and I really like how it turned out. And of course, those cupcake and cake are up on mounting squares. Give them a little dimension. And for the sentiment, I chose 2 puffy stickers, Think Happy and Your Day. And the final item, I'm just going to add a trio of those lovely sequins down here. And it just adds just a little bit more dimension, like I was saying earlier, and slight amount of shimmer, catch the light, just some more interest in the card, but it doesn't take away at all from the design. So that's great. I love that about those sequins. Here's how it turns out. My glue's not quite dry yet. So for card number 7, I'm going to use a scrap. This scrap, the floral, was from the first card. That is the offcut. And thankfully, the orientation wasn't so strong that I couldn't, you know, alter the way I was laying it out. So it's not quite an all-over pattern, but I think it looks good in the horizontal as well as in the vertical orientation. And then I took the striped pink pattern paper, and then I am hiding the seam with that gold piece of gold card. And I have this chipboard sticker, My Heart, My Home, that I'm putting onto a die-cut cream circle that I just used one of my circle dies to cut out. And then I'm going to take from the die cut pack these 2 dark green leaf foliage branches. Boy, that was a lot of words for that. I'm going to tuck them in underneath the circle. So I haven't glued down my circle yet. And then I have a couple flowers from the die cut pack as well. So I do a little of adjusting. I'm trying to achieve balance here, and I was trying to I wanted to put my circle centered. I don't think it really ends up perfectly centered, but I think because I have things coming out on the left and then I place things out on the right, it does end up being balanced. I probably could have found the center of the card and maybe done that a little better, but again, it doesn't need to be perfect. So there you go. If you want it more centered, maybe use a pencil line. But yeah, I think it still looks balanced, and this is how it turns out. For card number 8, oh, this was another pattern paper I just loved. I love the way the colors look together, the color story there. Love it. So I took some of the dark green cardstock and the cream and layered them. And I'm going to place this panel on the right. And then I have scraps of that floral in little rectangles. And I wanted more space at the top so I can fit this chipboard sentiment. But I want the distance between the little rectangles to be equal. And then there's a smaller space at the bottom. Hopefully that all makes sense. And it says, I can't help but smile. And then another chipboard sticker was this large floral cluster that I'm going to place just on the left of that panel. And this is another card that just comes together really quickly. But I love the way all the colors look together. They're very soft, lovely colors. And then to finish off the card again, I'm just going to add a few sequins here. Yes. I don't know what I'm doing with those other ones. Maybe I'm thinking about, oh, that's right, I was going to add a couple more at the top. And I think, are they the same size? I can't tell. Yes, there's one small one and one large one, I believe. Because there were large and then smaller ones. I think there's 2 sizes in it. Yeah. So for card number 9, another pattern paper that I was immediately drawn to. The geese. Oh, they're so cute. And you can see there's like little hearts in there. And so I, again, am bringing some black cardstock in from my stash as a panel here, focal panel in the middle. And then there's the lovely light pastel patterned X paper. It's got like X's, or maybe that's supposed to be cross stitch. I'm not sure. That's just a nice background for this die cut of the geese with 3 little goslings. Or it's a goose, rather. There's only 1 goose and goslings. And then the die cut from the die cut pack, Love, I put up on mounting tape. And then these geocache tags, I don't know what they're. I think of them as destination markers, but I've got the sage, like greenish one, a gold one. Oh, the greenish one is a chipboard sticker. Then the gold one from the die cut pack, and then the tiny light blue one that I put up on a mounting circle there. They're kind of all pointing at love. You know, this was like a mom-child card. I don't know. I just thought the geese, that just brings happy thoughts. I don't know. And then I am adding a few sequins here and there. So that is how this turns out. Basically, this is a card to showcase the geese, you know. And finally, card number 10 is another one I really struggled with. But I did love this park pattern paper. So I cut out a rectangle, and I wanted to do a variety of dimension. And I also added some black cardstock because the rectangle is like the exact size. If my inner rectangle was larger, I wouldn't have so much trouble here. And then that sticky mounting tape was giving me so much trouble. Yeah, so there's a little bit that shows through, a little shadow there, but the black hides it. But yeah, that was a struggle. And so I arranged things to kind of hide that black a little bit. And so I have one of the trees from the die cut pack that overlaps my little window here, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I wanted to put the smaller one underneath, so I gotta go do that, and that's in the window there. And then I have, from the stamp set, I stamped out So Thankful for Sweet Neighbors Like You. I was toying with the idea of this chipboard sticker with the hearts, and I just discarded it. It just didn't go after I was having to adjust my design. I just decided to go without it. So I'm putting that down at the bottom, and I'm just going to add a few sequins. This was definitely one of those cards where it wasn't going the way I planned. So yeah, my original idea was slightly different, but I had to really adjust my expectations after my sticky stuff was getting all over. And this is how card number 10 turns out. Thanks again for watching. I'm gonna bring in all 10 again very slowly here for you to see. Let me know which one's your favorite and which one you might want to try. Also, I have, I think, like 5 more cards that I'm going to film. And I'd like to know if you prefer to see more process or if it's all about the card ideas. Like, what do you like? Because there's a lot more editing involved in the process video for sure. And so for my next video, I'm just going to show the completed cards and explain maybe a little bit of how I achieved that look. But I'd love to get some feedback about what people prefer, because I want to do what people like, and I can't do that if I don't know what it is. And thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful and creative day. Bye!